Hello everyone, this video is about Jupiter and Rahu conjunction, which is also called Guru Chandal Yog. And yes, we are going to look at certain charts and understand this particular conjunction in detail. I also want to make a second part of this video with more celebrity charts so that we can understand this conjunction. This conjunction happens if you have Jupiter and Rahu sitting conjunct in any of the houses in your chart. It is also present if Jupiter and Ketu is conjunct, but the dynamics are very different if Jupiter and Ketu is conjunct. We will talk about that in a different video, but this one is particularly about Jupiter and Rahu. Now, this particular yoga, which is called Guru Chandal Yoga, which means Guru means someone who's a wise and knowledgeable advisor or a coach or your teacher or your guru that you learn something from. And Rahu, as we all know, is mischievous. Rahu likes breaking rules and likes giving bad ideas to people to break the law and get things in shortcut. I've made lots of videos on Rahu, so I'm going to add the playlist right here so that you can get to know all about Rahu. This particular conjunction plays up even if you have Rahu and Jupiter in 159 position from each other, right? For example, let's look at this example. So, for example, if Rahu is present in your first house and Jupiter is in your fifth house, you will still have this particular yoga, all right? Same thing. If you have it, if Jupiter is in the first house and Rahu is in the ninth house, so 159, not just the first house, it can be anywhere, right? So it can happen if Jupiter is in the second house and Rahu is in the sixth house. It is fifth from each other. So we have to count the places from each other. If it is 159 from each other, you will still have this particular yoga running in your charts. Okay. So why is this yoga very, very powerful and interesting? Why? Because the Mahadashas of these two planets come one after each other, right? So you go through first Rahu Mahadasha and then you go through Jupiter Mahadasha, which is pretty much could be almost half your life, about good 34 odd years you will be going through this Mahadasha. So it's very important. So if you have this particular conjunction, or if you have this kind of an aspect, which is nothing but the mutual aspect, right? Rahu, Jupiter, because they both have the same aspects. Rahu and Jupiter have the 5-9 aspect. We will not talk about the seventh. If Jupiter is seventh from Rahu, it's Jupiter and Ketu conjunction, which is not as, may not be as malefic as the Jupiter and Rahu conjunction. All right. So let me explain this conjunction with an example. I will tell you a story, and then I will also give you an example of this character from Breaking Bad called Heisenberg, played by this character called Walter White. So if you've seen Breaking Bad, and if you know Heisenberg's character, you know exactly what this yoga is all about. Okay, so let me tell for those who haven't seen this particular series called Breaking Bad, watch it if you want to understand this conjunction. And if you have this conjunction, it's very good. It's also a very nice, good series that you can get to learn a lot from. Hopefully the good things and not the bad things. This is a story from Maya Stringer. It's about the Cherokee. It's a sort of old American Cherokee legend story. It's about when you're born with two wolves. One is the black wolf and one is the white wolf. This is from the story. All right. So black wolf is pretty much the significator of all the negative emotions: anger, jealousy, frustration, envy, hatred, all the negatives that fill up your head. All right, greed, cheating. And the white wolf is just the opposite. So the white wolf is the karaka, or the significator of love, compassion, kindness, wisdom, sacrifice, gratitude, okay, dharma, principles, truth. Okay. So from the time we are born, we are feeding both the wolves, the black wolf and the white wolf. Okay. And by the time we are stronger and older, all of us have these two wolves. Now, how much we have fed these two wolves depends on the strength of these wolves. So if we have fed the white wolf more, which means we have showed gratitude and we have displayed kindness and helped people, the white wolf is very, very strong, and the black wolf is not very strong. It's probably diminished. It's a weak one, right? Hypothetically, the black wolf is probably half the size of the white wolf, right? And just the opposite, if you fed the black wolf becomes very, very strong, and the white wolf is malnourished and starving, right? But the question is, if the white wolf becomes too strong, see, these two wolves don't like each other. They are clashing personalities, right? They are both fighting for dominance, for your decision making. If the white wolf becomes too strong, it will not kill the black wolf, because, killing is not a trait of the white wolf. It will not see the white wolf starve. So the white wolf will say, hey, you know what? Your black wolf is dying. Why don't you give it a little food? But just the opposite scenario, if the black wolf becomes too strong, the black wolf doesn't have compassion. So if the black wolf sees the white wolf starving, it will allow the white wolf to die. All right. So which means there could be people with just the black wolf alive and no white wolf at all, with complete dark souls and energies. And there could be people who have a very, very strong white wolf and a very, very tiny, emaciated black wolf, because the white wolf will not let the black wolf die. Okay. So this is an analogy to make you understand the conjunction of Rahu and Jupiter. Okay. For those who have seen the series Breaking Bad, Heisenberg, this character, I will give a quick brief for people who haven't watched it. So this guy is a very, very knowledgeable person who's actually a teacher. He teaches in a school and teaches children. He's a chemistry teacher. So, and he's very, very passionate about his students and how he wants to impart knowledge. So he tries to make it very, very interesting, right? He's a great orator. And he's so knowledgeable that he probably got some kind of, he had a patent and he got a Nobel Prize or something. So very, very knowledgeable guy, exalted guru, master of chemistry. Okay. But for some reasons, he wasn't making enough money. So to support his family, he started washing cars after, working in the school, right? But that still wasn't enough. So to support his family, he had a disabled son, right? And he was a very family-oriented man, and he wanted to provide all the happiness, materialistic happiness, to his family and his son. So he gets into a wrong company. One of his ex-students, who was not a great student of his chemistry student, he was into dealing drugs and making meth. So long story short, he starts making meth with this student of his. And since he was so good, he teaches him how to do it, because he's so good. He teaches him wrong things. He teaches him how to make meth, which is a drug which kills people, and ends up making lots of money, millions and millions of money. Okay, millions and millions of dollars. So watch the series if you want to understand this character, and eventually he gets caught, and I think he dies at the end of so it's not a very happy ending. All right. So I don't want to scare you, but my intention is to make sure that you are getting the right information and you're able to understand this conjunction so that you get the best results of this conjunction. All right. Osho. We're going to analyze his charts in a bit, but I want to explain the conjunction through Osho as well. Now, Osho is again a fantastic example of the Guru Chandal, the Jupiter and Rahu aspect. Okay. Now, he was an exalted guru. He had such amazing skills. He was such a good orator, such a good public speaker, that people would be mesmerized when he would speak. Okay. He had answers for all questions, and he had a great sense of humor. He would make people laugh. People would just feel good in his presence. He would address millions and millions of people, and they would leave everything and want to be in his ashram. Okay. But he had extremely different views about religion. He never preached that you should believe in God. He never even spoke about God. Okay. He told his idea was, you can never become a yogi until you are a Bhogi, which is just the opposite of a yogi, opposite of an hermit. All right, which pretty much resonates with the saying of Swami Vivekananda. Is like, there is no merit in the renunciation of a beggar, right? Also the book from Robin Sharma, the monk who sold his Ferrari, right? Which means if you haven't really experienced what is it to drive a Ferrari, you can't renounce a Ferrari. So first, for a person to become a yogi or a hermit or a sadhu, all right, you first need to experience the material world, and only then you can give it away. So interesting and very contradictory points of views that Osho had, right? And Rahu, remember, it's the significant of foreign lands and people from different culture. What he did, he went to America, formed his own city and his own cult. Okay? And his students were mostly not from all from different countries. Lots of Americans. So he became a guru in a foreign land with students who are from different countries. Right? And then he got into trouble as well. There were multiple lawsuits. People didn't want him there, and eventually he was driven away. There were multiple court cases on him. And he had to come back to India, Pune. Right? But since his Jupiter was so strong, now when we look at his charts, we will understand why he was so successful as well. All right. So this yoga, this conjunction is not always a bad conjunction. In a lot of cases, this conjunction gives a lot of success, lots of money, and lots of fame. All right. But we need to make sure that we are getting the positives of this conjunction and avoid all the negative bits of this conjunction. Okay. So in the next few minutes, we are going to discuss and understand this conjunction from the astrology point of view. I hope the way I told you the stories and the analogies I gave you, you are able to understand this conjunction. If you're not, if you're just a beginner in astrology and you don't understand the details. All right. So now for people who understand astrology a little bit, we know Jupiter. So the conjunction, if it's conjunct in the same house, we will look at the degree-wise conjunction first. Okay, which means if the degree-wise conjunction is between, if it's a very close conjunction, anything within 8 degrees is considered a close, which means if it's 2 degrees apart or 3 degrees, it's a very, very close conjunction. All right. But even if it's about 7 to 8 degrees apart, it's a close conjunction. Okay. We need to look at the degrees, try to understand the conjunction, because Rahu is retrograde, guys. Okay. So if Rahu is in 27 degrees, which means it has just entered the sign. Okay. And if his Jupiter is in 27 degrees and if it's not retrograde, that means Jupiter is about to get out of the sign. Okay. So try to use the same logic, because they are moving in different directions. And remember, Jupiter is slightly faster moving than Rahu. Okay. So first thing we will look at, if you have this conjunction, is the degree of this conjunction. Okay. If the degree conjunction of Jupiter is weak, which means if Jupiter is falling in very low degrees, for example, Jupiter is in 2 degrees and Rahu is at 15 degrees, which means Rahu has strength over Jupiter. Okay. So understand, first thing you will check is the degrees of the conjunction. Okay. Second thing we will check is which sign is this conjunction happening. If the conjunction is happening in the sign of Jupiter, any friendly signs of Jupiter or Jupiter's own sign, or if Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, where Jupiter's friends are there. Who are Jupiter's friends? Jupiter's friends are Mercury, Sun, Moon. All right. If it is happening in a friendly sign of Jupiter, then Jupiter has more power. Okay. And if it's, for example, Mars, if it's happening in Aries, Jupiter has a lot of power in Aries. But if it's happening, but there is an exception. If it's happening in Scorpio, then Rahu is debilitated. So Rahu, it's not considered very good. But if it's Jupiter Ketu in Scorpio, it is a very, very good conjunction. So don't get terrified if you're a Scorpio ascendant and if you have Jupiter and Ketu. It's very good if you have Jupiter and Ketu and if you're a Scorpio ascendant. Okay. But if it's Jupiter and Rahu conjunction in Scorpio, we have to really look at a lot of placements. We have to look at where Mars is. We have to see D9. It is not considered as a great placement. Okay. So first thing is degrees. Second thing is which sign it is falling in. Third thing, obviously, is which house it is falling in. We have to see if it is, if the conjunction is happening in 6th, 8th or 12th, it will not give good results. Okay. So these are the first three things we will see. So the logic that we will follow, if you have this conjunction, is Jupiter needs to be more powerful than Rahu. Okay. So we will again check if any malefics, natural malefics are giving aspects to Jupiter or not. Which means, is it getting aspected from Saturn, Mars, natural malefics? Okay. We will also see the ninth lord. Before that, we will see if Jupiter is a functional malefic for the Lagna lord or not. If Jupiter is a functional malefic for the Lagna lord, again, it may give negative results, guys. Okay. So if Jupiter is a natural benefic, all right. And if it's also a functional benefic for you, then it's very good. The conjunction will give you great results. Okay. So then we will look at the ninth lord of the particular chart we are looking at. So if you're Aries ascendant, so if you're a Leo ascendant, we will look at the position of Mars, because Mars holds the lordship of the ninth house. We will see how that the ninth lord is placed. Right? Why? Because we are trying to see principles, right? We are trying to see how principle oriented the person is. That is the logic we are trying to follow. Okay. And what is the significator of Jupiter? Jupiter is nothing but your principles, the rules that you follow. The white wolf in you is the Jupiter. Okay. Jupiter is about compassion. Jupiter is about knowledge. Jupiter is the one that tells you, hey, this is not the right thing to do. Don't do this. Okay. And Rahu is taking shortcuts. Hey, listen, why do you want to work hard? Let's just do this so that we can get this quickly. Okay. Rahu is a master planner. Rahu is always trying to get from point A to point B without working hard. So Rahu is giving people ideas to finish their tasks in a shortcut way and not do it correctly. Breaking the rules. Okay. Jupiter is also the karaka of wisdom, knowledge, long distance travel. Jupiter is also the karaka of expansion, of money. Rahu is also the karaka of expansion. So whichever house this is happening in, there is lots of expansion pertaining to that particular house and sign. So if it's happening in Sagittarius, that means there could be endless desire of this person to learn. Endless desire of this person to acquire knowledge, to travel, to go to universities. And this is only if Jupiter is stronger. If Jupiter is weak and in bad degrees and getting aspected by malefics, then they will not get along with any of their gurus or teachers. They will not complete their education. They will have trouble while traveling. They will have trouble with their fathers, their gurus. They might have radical point of views about religion. They could be extremely harsh and arrogant. They might have a superiority complex that I know everything and you don't know anything. They might come across as extremely egotistic if Sun is involved. Okay. So we have to, once we understand what is Jupiter and what is Rahu, we will now analyze what are the good traits of this conjunction. Now there is lots of good things about this conjunction. So if you're feeling disheartened already, let me tell you some very, very good things about the conjunction. So first thing is, if Jupiter is very, very strong, these people can become fantastic in the education related industry, especially in the world of online education right now. Rahu is technology, internet, YouTube, You could become YouTubers. You could have an education, a channel on education, any kind of education, whatever your field is. It could be on IT as well. Rahu is the Karaka for IT and technology, and Jupiter. So they could be teaching coding languages online and physically. Okay, so becomes very, very strong. They could be into research as well. If eighth house is involved, or if Mars is involved, or even if it's not involved, and if Aquarius is involved, they could be into research. They could become scientists with this, because they have this endless. See, Rahu is obsession, so they become obsessed with learning. Jupiter is knowledge and wisdom. They could become exalted gurus in whatever subject they have interest in. They could have knowledge about so many different subjects. Okay, you ask them, you have a conversation about sports, they will answer you about sports. They ask them about history, they will tell you. You ask them about astrology, they will say, hey, I will tell you about this conjunction. That. So they can completely, people who have this conjunction can completely amaze you with the knowledge that they have on different subjects. Okay, because both are karakas of expansion. By the way, a lot of people don't know this. A lot of astrologers don't know this. Rahu, the education profession is also seen by Rahu. Why? Because Rahu was Shukracharya, who's nothing but Venus. So Venus was the Shukracharya, was the guru or the teacher of all the demons and gods, right? And Jupiter was the teacher of all the gods. Okay, so Venus and Jupiter are both teachers or gurus. Venus is for the demons and asuras, and Jupiter is for the gods, right? Rahu, who is also known as Swarvhanu was an assistant of Shukracharya. So he was also helping Shukra to teach other demons. So Rahu, if you will see, if you have Rahu conjunct, Rahu in your 10th house, or conjunct with the 10th Lord, and if Jupiter is involved somewhere, you would be involved in some kind of a teaching profession some days, at some point of time in your life. Okay. So Rahu and Jupiter conjunction can do a lot of good. Okay. It can make a person very, very wealthy, very, very knowledgeable, whichever house it is going in. You can get into the film industry if it's happening in Leo. You can get into wherever it's happening. So as long as Jupiter is getting more strength, and we have to look at the dispositor. Okay, if the dispositor is strong, then Jupiter will become stronger. So we have to see how strong the placement of other planets. We have to look at the placement of Moon, very important. If Moon is not stable, they can have great emotional ups and downs. So an overall analysis of the charts and how the other planets are placed, this conjunction can give great results. The negatives, we already know, lots of negatives. This conjunction can give addiction. It can give alcohol, drug addiction. It can really mess up your health. For women, it can give addiction to sex. It can give addiction. They can have unstable relationship because Jupiter is the Karaka of their husband. So broken marriages can be seen. They could have multiple relationships. Infidelity could be seen from this conjunction if Rahu is stronger than Jupiter. Okay. So we will check whenever, if you have this conjunction, if you are running through Jupiter and Rahu Antardasha as well, this will start playing up. So you got to be very careful and make sure that you're not taking up the traits of Rahu and giving Jupiter more power. So anyone with this conjunction must make sure that Jupiter, you're getting more power to Jupiter and you're not giving more power to Rahu. How do you give more power to Rahu? You give more power to Rahu by indulging in intoxications, by taking shortcuts, by breaking the law, by cheating or lying to people. Okay. So these are I've made a video. I've explained all of this. So check my channel page, and I have explained Rahu in multiple videos, and what are the things that you can do so that Rahu doesn't get as much power, so that you can give Jupiter more energy. Okay. So now let's look at the chart of Osho. So as we can see, Osho is a Taurus ascendant. So if you're all Taurus ascendants, please pull up your charts so that we can see if we are forming any similar yogas or not. As we can see, Jupiter is exalted in the third house in Cancer, making him such an amazing philosopher, such an amazing guru, right? Millions of fans all across the world. And which house is this happening? This is happening in the third house, right? The third house of speech, communication, right? Jupiter exalted in the third house of communication. All he can think and talk about is his idealistic and very, very unorthodox ways of looking at life and religion. Okay? Out of the box thinking. Absolutely unorthodox. And what is it doing? It is giving its ninth aspect to Rahu, as you can see in the 11th house. And what is Rahu doing? Rahu is looking right back. Rahu is looking right back at Jupiter, the fifth aspect. And Rahu also sits in Jupiter's sign, which is Pisces. And you know, Rahu is very strong in the 12th, in the 11th house, right? It's the house of the masses, the world outside. And in Pisces, what does it become? It tries to behave like Jupiter itself. Okay. So, and the Pisces, you know, is the other realm, foreign lands. Rahu is the Karaka of foreign lands. So you see, it all makes sense if we just look at Jupiter and Rahu in his charts. The mutual aspect. Guru Chandal Yog. You see, all the planets are clustered in the 8th house, apart from Sun. Sun in the 7th house, looking at the 1st house, giving him fame. Okay. Also, Sun in Scorpio. His secrets came out to the world. Why? Scorpio is the secrets and Sun is a luminary. His own assistant, I forgot her name. I saw the documentary. She was blurting out all his secrets and to the rest of the world. Right. So Osho's ideology was very, very unorthodox. Right. He would, as a guru, he would talk about all the material things in the world. He had all like 80 to 90 cars, all expensive cars. Lived a lavish life. Never asked people to live a lavish life. Okay. Experience all the materialistic pleasures of life. Isn't it a lot of Rahu there? Rahu speaking. You see, the cluster that you see in the 8th house is nothing but 8th house is nothing but the house of transformation, especially Mars sitting there. Saturn sitting there, left a legacy even after he's dead. His ashram is still there. There are people still who are die-hard fans of Osho even after he's dead. Saturn does that. Saturn is Vargottam, by the way. All happening in the sign of Sagittarius. Amazing, isn't it? Of higher learning. Right? So if you don't know who's Osho, just go to YouTube and see some of his interviews or things he says. You will understand how out of the box his thinking was in the 70s and 80s. Okay? Because all these clusters are in Sagittarius and it's in the 8th house of transformation. Osho has transformed celebrities. They have left everything and have joined the Osho ashram. They have left their careers at their peak and joined his cult, formed his own cult. Right? Now let's look at his Mahadashas real quick. I'm going to add the Mahadashas here. You see his Mahadashas. His main time was, there you go. You see Rahu and Jupiter. That is when those years between 1960 to 1994. I think he died in 1990. You see, perfect example of Guru Chandal Yog. The time from Rahu and Jupiter is when he was the most active and he pretty much dominated an entire cult of the world. Okay. Let's look at Robert Downey Jr.'s chart. So as we can see, well, I'm quite positive this is the right time of birth because of the dasha and the incident. So I was matching the sequence of events in his life with the Mahadashas, and this seems to make sense to me. So he's a Cancer ascendant. And as you can see, Rahu and Jupiter are conjunct in the 11th house in Taurus. Now, who's strong in Taurus? Rahu is strong in Taurus. This is a great example where Jupiter is only in 2 degrees. Jupiter is weak sitting there. Okay. Rahu is in 23 degrees. It has entered Taurus already 7 degrees in. Rahu is exalted in Taurus. Right? So what happens? So we will not study his other planets. We can see Venus is exalted. His 9th house is exalted. We can see his 9th house is very strong, right? Remember when I was explaining. So his 9th house is very, very strong, but the 9th Lord and the 11th Lord have mutual exchange. Isn't it? Which means Lord of Taurus is sitting in the 9th Pisces and Pisces Lord. So it's a very powerful Parivartan Yoga and Dhan Yoga and Raj Yoga. It's all happening there. Okay. Also Neech Bhang Raj Yoga with Mercury debilitated and Venus exalted. Right. But we know, right now we can call him a very, very, successful man, the Iron Man. He's made a lot of money and very, very famous. People love him. He's made billions, I think. He's a billionaire now, right? But let's look at his dashas. Now you see, go to Google, go to Wikipedia and read about how his time during 1989 and 2007 was. And you will be shocked if you don't know. If you know what happened, you will see how Rahu has played up because he has given power to Rahu. I'm not saying that if you have a similar placement, the same things are going to happen to you. It will not. But he gave power to Rahu. He was into intoxication. If you have the same conjunction and you do not intoxicate, you will get the positive results. Okay. So he was caught, he was arrested because he was carrying drugs. He was carrying heroin and cocaine and he was arrested. He had multiple fallouts and divorces. His career was up and down. He was into addiction. He had to check into a rehab. He had a lot of good friends who really guided him and helped him out. And then his major success started from when Jupiter Mahadasha started. So if you see the Iron Man series and all his big hits is when he cleaned up his act. He went to rehab. He took it seriously. He came back to life. He's like, I'm going to stop doing drugs. I'm going to focus on my career. And then his career just skyrocketed from there. And he's I think one of the highest paid actors in the world. What an amazing, turnaround from being arrested and being addicted to drugs that could have killed him. Right? So, quickly, we will also look at the chart of Heisenberg. I had to do this, because he played this character so well. I went and found out his date of birth. I didn't have his time of birth, of course, but it's a very interesting. He doesn't have a Guru Chandal Yog in his Lagna chart. But what is interesting, I'll show you the chart. So here's the chart. Okay, if you see, it's his Jupiter is retrograde and it's very, very low degrees and it's in Leo, right? Jupiter in Leo. But if we look at his Navamsha, there is definitely a Guru Chandal Yog. So you have to look at your Navamsha for Guru Chandal Yog. All right. So here is his Navamsha. And we all know that So if you haven't seen Breaking Bad, watch Breaking Bad. It's really, really good. I've seen it years ago, and I instantly, when I was trying to make the video of Guru Chandal Yog and Jupiter and Rahu Conjunction, I thought of this particular character because he's played it so well. All right, that's all I have for you. And if you have any questions, please mention in the comments, and I'll be happy to answer your questions if I can. If you liked the video, please hit the like button. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to my channel and stay tuned for more. Thank you very much for your time. I will talk to you very soon. Bye-bye.